So from books to Oreos to live ladybugs and even UFO crash site soil, Amazon.com sells a lot of things. This large business, one of the leading world companies in online shopping, tends to operate a bit differently than other leading businesses. And today I'll be sharing with you 3 of the biggest factors of Amazon's success, which is keeping things as simple as possible, always putting the customer first, and being prepared to fail in order to succeed in the future. Now, I've been working at Amazon for 6 months now, and I've been able to see firsthand these things implemented in the workforce. So first, one of Amazon's biggest factors is always keeping things simple. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon in 1994, believed in a simple yet efficient system. This is Jeff Bezos, right? Believed in a simple yet efficient system that was clear-cut and productive. He concluded that overcomplicating a system with hidden requirements or dependencies hinders productiveness, that there was no need for artificial, unnecessary layers of complexity. And the second biggest factor was always putting customer satisfaction above everything else. Bezos believed in delivering more value to the customer rather than always upgrading to the latest technology or whatever systems that would take time for the whole company to learn how to work with it and to learn how to use the systems. He always valued customer satisfaction in the highest regard. One of the key attributes that he implemented was he believed that the people closest to the problem were best suited to solve it. So management is always asking the employees if they can provide feedback and get creative in order to offer ideas that will improve efficiency within the company. And the management is always open towards suggestions that can improve efficiency. And the results of this have been evident, as for the second straight year, customers have ranked Amazon #1 in the annual Harris Poll on corporate reputation. And this is one of the examples of simple workforce, just a straight up system to show you how he keeps things simple in the workforce and just be able to have clear-cut instructions on how to perform your daily tasks. And as Bezos states in the Everything Store, there's bound to be problems with anything that produces hype before real implementation, which leads me to the third factor: always be prepared to fail in order to achieve future success. New systems are always having to go through a trial run inside of the workforce in order to measure efficiency and see how well they work in actual implementation. He prefers systems that require a fast reboot, fast recovery process so that if it runs into obstacles initially, you can quickly recover from that and overcome them in order to grow the company more quickly. And he believes this is more time efficient than producing a system that's trying to create a perfect system and to just iron out all the kinks initially, instead of being able to implement something that if there's a problem with it, he can overcome it more quickly than that, instead of just trying to create a perfect system right away. And I quote from Jeff Bezos saying, if you decide you're going to do only the things you know are going to work, you're going to leave a lot of opportunity on the table. And it just shows that he believes you should try everything and fail more often, and instead of just trying to succeed the very first time you do something. And so in summary, 3 of the biggest factors of Jeff Bezos' success with Amazon were being able to keep things simple, always putting customer satisfaction at the top, and being prepared to fail in order to achieve future success. And with these 3 factors, he's been able to create one of the world's leading businesses in online sales. And the management at Amazon always inspires us and motivates us to provide feedback and to offer ideas that could improve efficiency inside the workforce. And I leave you with a quote from Jeff Bezos saying, "It's easier to invent the future than to predict it." Thank you. And this is a picture of live ladybugs and UFO parasites.
Nathan, I do need the time now because I didn't say. What was it?
4:43.
4:44?
30.
4:30. Okay.
4:43.
Pardon me. All right, Essa, what did you think?
I think the introduction was really good. It showed the audience why it's relevant to us to pay attention to it. He made it very simple on the 3 keys of Amazon and its simplicity. The transitions were good. I like the fact that at the end of the summary, he reinstated his points to make it clear, and the transition was pretty good. Eye contact was really good, but just try to make it a little longer.
All right. Yeah, I'd agree with you about the introduction. I thought I like the way you came up with all those terms and items, and then you led us into the subject. I thought that was pretty effective. There was a nice piece of information about the philosophy that's going on there. You've got a good statement of what your purpose is for the most part. That statement is also the preview. I thought the preview was the stronger part of what you were doing. I knew exactly where you were going to go in terms of structure, and so that sets it up pretty effectively. You did good signposting in the body of the speech also, so that was pretty effective. Most of the content is reasonable. You've got Bezos quotes here and there and statements and background information in appropriate spots. The thing that's missing, I think, that would add to it, make it a little bit more interesting, would be some examples or illustrations of all the things that you're talking about. So give me an example of something that was an employee-generated innovation that made the company work better. Tell a story about something that you've done, for instance, that follows this idea of keeping it simple. Give us an illustration of how the ran into, they tried to do something with the website and that didn't work and they were willing to just go back to what they did before. I mean, there are all kinds of things that, would make this a little bit more interesting. The ideas and concepts that you have, I think, are good, and there's a good foundation and structure there, but you've got to fill it in a little bit. You've kind of created a good skeletal system for the presentation. Now you got to put a little muscle and meat on it so that it looks and feels a little bit more like it's something vigorous and alive. I thought the presentation was pretty solid. The last slide that you had with the ladybugs and the other products for sale, you could have used that either in the introduction. I don't think that was necessary since you had the other thing that you were using. Or it could have been integrated into your concluding statement. You come back to it. So, next time you need some ladybugs, don't be shy about using Jeff Bezos' brilliant idea that's simply organized and, is interested in customer service. You get your ladybugs in 2 days shipping if you're an Amazon Prime member. Some way of putting it together so it all fits together and gives you that conclusion. I thought you had a pretty good conclusion until you were sitting down and then you gave us that last slide. And I'm going, wait a second, I thought you were done. So you're kind of stepping on yourself there a little bit. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody sticking around today. On Thursday, we'll continue our discussion of delivery issues and